Well, what do you know? We are at that period. We are at the day. The day has finally come where Twitter, the social media platform created and operated by Elon Musk, no, now known as X, right? This social media platform, the people on it, the users on it, are outright acknowledging that the Nintendo Wii U was a good console. And of course, the gaming YouTubers who spent that period downplaying the thing, the guys from Game Explain, OJ from Player Essence, I'm sure there's like countless endless examples of it. All these guys are coming out trying to say, no, it was a bad console, actually. No, nobody plays their Wii U. I played mine last week. I streamed a bunch of games on it. I'm thinking of going back and playing through Woolly World again. I have Xenoblade Chronicles X sitting out there. I have I have a lot of things I'd like to revisit when it comes to Wii U. Kirby and the Rainbow Curse, right? There are a lot of good things about this console. And lately, it seems like it's been long enough where people have been able to play their Wii U's and experience the games on it, where everyone knows that the Wii U was a good console. Certainly better than Xbox One and the PlayStation 4, right? Objectively so. But the gaming YouTubers don't want to admit that, right? Because that would mean that their coverage of the console was unwarranted, right? They're specifically bringing up things like E3 2015 and like the Nintendo Direct launch lineups, right? They keep bringing up like all this really ridiculous fringe nonsense when, like, objectively speaking, when you look at the game library, when you look at how many people still play their Wii U's, right? When you look at how many people are like thinking back positively of the console, especially when it comes to like extremely polarizing games like Star Fox Zero, Nintendo Land, or The Wonderful 101, right? When you think back on that era, like, the reality is, in spite of all of this propaganda that game journalists threw at Nintendo at the time, right? In spite of like, everything the gaming establishment tried to do, the Wii U was a successful gaming platform. It had fans. Like, it was the only gaming platform that was actually delivering high quality games. It had unique features that even now I wish would come back. What happened to Miiverse? Why was there not like a massive backlash to like the removal of Miiverse, one of the greatest innovations in history? Like, I would much prefer posting about games on Miiverse than on Twitter, where like 99% of the people talking about Nintendo games don't actually play it anyway. That was the thing about Miiverse, right? You would go on there, even for like the most polarizing, like hated games imaginable, stuff like Devil's Third, and you would see people playing and enjoying the games. While on X, well, Twitter at the time, you would have people like Liam Robertson trying to like gaslight you into thinking that like, oh, Devil's Third is completely broken. Some of these bosses have one-hit KO moves, like that completely breaks the game. Completely like just completely misrepresenting what the game actually is, representing its qualities, like misrepresenting like like ignoring the audience who is genuinely like enthusiastic about this stuff. I remember how like that early launch window, but when we were getting stuff like New Super Mario Bros. U, um, Nintendo Land, Zombie U, the Wonderful 101 in September of 2013. Like, I remember how like everyone was like, actually, these aren't gonna sell Wii U's, while like completely ignoring how good the games actually were, right? The Wonderful 101 might be one of the best games ever made, to be completely bluntly honest with you. I really need to play it again. It's been way too long. I've been trying to 100% the original Bayonetta, and that's why it's been on the back burner for so long. But like, I didn't even play it for the 10th anniversary. That's how bad it's been. But I'm gonna try to. It's on the list to go back to. Right? Like, again, but that's the thing, though. And this is the reason I have such a bone to pick with the gaming YouTube community. This is a reason why I have such an issue with the way these people covered the console. Because they weren't upset about the games. They weren't upset about the Nintendo Directs. They weren't upset about the hardware, the software, like the developers, nothing. Like, the issue was, during that time period, it was very difficult to create content based on Nintendo consoles, right? This is why you always see them go back and like um, talk about that the creator program policy and stuff like that, stuff that nobody really cares about, because that is the real reason they have such an issue with the Wii U era Nintendo. Right? That is why they're so salty to this day. It's because Nintendo knows they don't need them to market their products. And that's become very true over the past 10 years, because you'll notice I've been talking about this as well. There haven't been new YouTube personalities, right? After Arlo came on the scene with like Color Splash, like the that entire industry has kind of stagnated, right? Because like nobody's tuning into these new channels, right? Like nobody else can get their channel off the ground because everybody else, like the market has become saturated, and more like the established personalities, people like the Game Grumps, uh, you know, uh, what's his name, Jaywitz, like all these people are already established, and they are losing fans, right? They are losing their credibility with every passing year. That is the that's the that is the reality of the gaming YouTube sphere right now, is that like more and more people are beginning to realize that like these people don't talk about video games. Like this has been the thing with like Tears of the Kingdom, like the discourse around that, around Mario Wonder, around Princess Peach Showtime. Oh, nobody is talking about these games. No, the reality is gaming YouTubers cannot create content regarding those games. And as a result, they're not talking about them. They're not shilling them. They're not promoting them because they're not the kind of products that they can grift off of. So it creates this illusion that these games are significantly less popular than they really are, right? And I think that was the case with the Wii U as well, because I do think it's safe to say the Wii U is going to be the most fondly remembered out of those out of that console generation. It did have the most exclusive games. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is one of the best-selling games ever right now, and that was a port of a Wii U game. Breath of the Wild was originally developed for the Wii U. Like the Wii U absolutely has a very strong place in gaming history, but right now we are seeing a lot of people who are really desperate to portray the era as being a rather dark spot in Nintendo's history. When in reality, no, absolutely, we were getting great games all throughout that generation, right? On Wii U and 3DS. Like nothing has really changed since then, right? The thing about the Switch is that like the Nintendo Direct model became viable. And now it's not possible for gaming YouTubers to just ignore all the games that they can't grift off of, right? So, stuff like Princess Peach Showtime absolutely finds its audience, as opposed to like the Wii U era where games like Nintendo Land were shunned for like really arbitrary, ridiculous reasons, right? Like I cannot emphasize this enough. The Wii U was a fantastic console, and I will continue supporting and loving the console for years to come. Star Fox Zero was a great game.